A to Z with Mark Zinno, John Michaels at John Michaels U. In for Mark today, having a good time, just hanging out, talking a lot of sports. We got a lot more to get into. Interesting conversation when you talk about that Kevin Durant and Trae Young stuff. This segment of the program brought to you by Arcade One Up. Appreciate all they do here on the Locked On Network. Again, check us out on all social media platforms, Locked On ATL. Huge bombshell. I guess it's crazy. You know, I work morning radio normally, and I took a nap yesterday, as I normally do, for about 2 hours. And I wake up, and my phone is absolutely blowing up with news that's going on. First, the Kevin Durant stuff comes down. He wants to be traded from Brooklyn. It was obviously NBA free agency day. The Hawks had made a trade for DeJounte Murray. It was official. They got the press conference coming up a little bit later on today. But then the college football news broke that USC and UCLA were moving across country to be part of the Big Ten. And you ask, how the heck does this have anything to do with Atlanta? Well, there's an institution, the Institute, down in downtown Atlanta that is in real danger of being left behind when it comes to everything that's going on in the college football arms race. What you've seen right now is this is now a money situation and nothing else. This is no longer a situation that's about regional rivalries. Like we think about the 80s, 90s, 2000s when we all grew, at least when I grew up, college football was a very regional game. Southeastern teams kind of played Southeastern teams. Big Ten teams were up here in the Midwest. You had the Pac-10 way out then. You had the Southwest Conference, which was Texas. The Big Eight kind of in that central part of the country. You had the ACC over here on the Atlantic coast. You had some independent teams, Penn State, Notre Dame, Miami, different places that just played everywhere. But everything was kind of regionalized. And as we've morphed into everything that's going on with college football, it's become more money-based than rivalry or regional-based. And I think Georgia Tech is in a very, very dangerous situation right about now. I really do. Because you start reading all these articles that are out there, The Athletic, CBS, ESPN. Everybody starts talking about what's going on in the arms race in college football. USC, UCLA going to do their thing. What's it all about? Green, money, cashola, payola, whatever it may be. They don't give a damn about their rivalry with Stanford. They don't care about being in California. They don't care about Oregon and the Phil Knight Nike money. All they care about is one thing. How do they line their pockets with more money? And aligning themselves with the Big Ten is going to do so. Texas and Oklahoma, they could care less about their rivalries with previous teams in the Big 12. They align themselves with the SEC because cash is out there. And I thought The Athletic did a really good job today breaking down the money that's involved in all of this. The SEC made almost $770 million, almost $750 million a year alone, a year ago, that was divvied up amongst the schools. You're talking about 50, 60, $70 million for each school. The Big Ten was second with about 680 some odd million dollars. And then the ACC was third, and part of that had to do with Notre Dame and their television money coming in during the COVID year. The ACC was right behind at about $500 million. But each institution made almost $20 million less because their TV deal sucks. Their network, and I hate I hate that Mark Packer and Wes Durham are no longer going to be doing their show coming out. I think today may have been their last day. Their ACC network's kind of boring. There's not a whole lot involved with that. It's too much time with volleyball and lacrosse and whatever it may be. Not enough live studio shows like they have with the SEC. Not enough cachet. But the reason I say locally it ties in and you got to become fearful, what now happens with the ACC? The ACC third out of three. Remember a year ago, they did that stupid alliance. Oh, the Big 12 and the Pac-12 and the ACC, they've got an alliance. This isn't wrestling. This isn't the NWO. You're not going to have Hulk Hogan run out and throwing up the NWO, the too sweet sign. That's not happening in college football. It's dog eat dog world. And I've always said scared money don't make money. And to quote the great Wu-Tang Clan, cash rules everything around me. Cash is king in the SEC and the Big Ten. It's king. It's not king in the ACC. It's not king in the Pac-12. It's sure as hell not king in the Big 12. And what's happening now is you're seeing these two power conferences cannibalizing everybody else, and they're going in and they're trying to take all the money. How does this affect Georgia Tech? Well, I was talking to my good buddy Joe Hamilton today, and we were discussing what now happens with Georgia Tech. Like realistically, where does Georgia Tech go in all of this? Just say the Big Ten, and there are rumors that the Big Ten is going to not only take USC and UCLA, which was ratified and voted upon, they're going to possibly take Oregon and Washington, two more big name programs out of the Pac-12. Well, now the Pac-12 is a dead conference. If Oregon and Washington are gone, nobody gives a rat's ass about Colorado and Utah and Oregon State. And I feel bad because they have fans and they have D1 programs. And every now and then, Colorado's won a national title, within the last 35 years. And, Arizona's been good in times with the Desert Swarm and Arizona State. Point is, nobody, TV-wise, nobody cares about any of those programs. No disrespect to those schools, nobody cares. And in the ACC, there's been rumors that Florida State, Clemson, and maybe Miami would jump ship if the SEC decides to become this mega conference. Well, where does that leave Georgia Tech? You're in an awesome media market. You're in the 7th biggest media market in Atlanta. Part of why we do Locked On ATL. I'll tell you in just a second where I think Georgia Tech's in a dangerous game, but a word from our sponsors. Remember the game NBA Jam? One of my favorites. Boom, shakalaka. You had some of that. Well, right now at Arcade 1-Up, you can be back to some of this. Thrilled to tell some of our listeners you can once again play hoops with NBA legends with this arcade classic. Jump across the court, shoot threes, dunk from anywhere. But Arcade, the #1up.com, this is one of the best places, and you can get an estimated early September ship date. It's the place for fun, more game classics, Mortal Kombat. Get over here. You had some of that going on. You had NBA Jam, the Shaq edition. You don't want to miss out right now. Enter today who you're going to play with, but you can check it out. Again, Arcade, the #1up.com. Here's where Georgia Tech's in trouble. What do they bring to the table realistically right now other than a great media market and a lot of history and tradition? What do they bring? They're not a good football program and haven't been. Basketball team is, kind of up and down. And let's be honest, as much as I love baseball and Danny Hall does a great job, baseball is basically a non-revenue sport. It goes along with lacrosse and tennis and everything else. It doesn't make the school money. Who would right now say, I want Georgia Tech in my conference? And can the ACC do enough to save face and not lose Clemson, Florida State, Miami? If I'm Clemson right now, I look and go, the SEC can give me $20 million more per year. I'm out of here. Deuces. If I'm Florida State, who's been a bad football program but has great tradition, and the SEC can give me $20 more million, that might get Mike Norvell out of here. Deuces. I'm gone. Same thing, Miami. They just gave up, $100 million basically in staff for Mario Cristobal and everybody. If you can get $20 more million per year, deuces. I'm out of here. But where does that leave Georgia Tech? Because I'm going to tell you now, Clemson, Florida State, and Miami end up getting new places. The ACC is in big trouble. The ACC forever has catered to the triangle schools, North Carolina State, Duke, and Wake Forest. And Wake's kind of the little brother in that mix. Georgia Tech doesn't really have a running mate right now. And I feel horrible for a school that's got multiple national championships in football. They won a title in 1990. Obviously, they split the title with Colorado that year, but they, up until Georgia's title a year ago, they were the most recent national champion here. What does that do for them? I'm being serious. Where would Georgia Tech end up? So here's my fail-safe for the ACC. Your home run pitch right now is Notre Dame must come in full-time. 100%. No more of this limbo, right foot in, right foot out, hokey-pokey BS that they've been doing. Notre Dame has to be in the conference full-time. Because what you can do then is you manipulate that NBC money that Notre Dame has. You say, look, you'll still get a bigger chunk of that. Part of the reason they made their $50-some-odd million a couple of years ago is Notre Dame was in for a year. Remember the COVID year, Notre Dame plays Clemson in the ACC title game. I thought the ACC made a great first step eliminating divisions. I hated Atlantic and Coastal BS. Absolutely awful ideas with the Atlantic and the Coastal. What you ended up having was Clemson for most years playing an 8-4 Virginia or a 7-5 Pitt. Nobody gave a damn because they were sacrificial lambs. So your home run that would help Georgia Tech find out how to get Notre Dame in here full time. Because if not, I got a feeling you're going to have a lot of these schools begging to find running mates to make a conference. What I truly think is going to happen in college football, by 2025, we're going to have 4 mega conferences. How that looks schedule-wise, how that looks division, how that looks play-ins, whatever it may be, there's probably going to be 4 mega conferences. Whether they're 18 or 20 teams, I don't know. If it gets to 80, Georgia Tech's safe. You cut that thing down to like 60. Is Georgia Tech right now one of the top 60 schools to be a part of this alliance? I think they are, but that has a lot to do with their history. And I think right now there's going to be 50 or 60 Division I schools that get left behind. We'll come back. We'll continue this conversation. Also, what's going on with a red-hot Atlanta Braves team, because Mets fans were Metting, and I loved all of it. It's John Michaels in for Mark Zinno. Give me a follow at John Michaels U on A to Z here on Locked On ATL.